G'day everyone, it's John in Los Angeles. Welcome to the third webinar for the 2012 series. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be around the US or Canada. For those of you that haven't joined us before, we're going to keep these sessions pretty quick. We've actually got 2 operators today, and the overall session we're aiming for 20 minutes again. So it's my privilege to introduce to you the team over in Adelaide. Matt Guy, our marketing executive. How are you today, Matt?
I'm very well, thank you, John. And yourself?
I'm very well. How is sunny Adelaide?
It's sunny. It's warm here today. A big old 31 degrees. So we're enjoying a spat of warm weather, which is great.
Beautiful. I know the tour down under just finished as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Great success. Record turnouts, and yeah, it was a sensational event once again.
Fantastic. So just before I introduce the 2 operators, just a reminder, if you have got a question during the session, feel free to type it into the chat box or the question box at any point. I'm going to be looking at that throughout the session, and we'll have a couple of minutes for questions at the end of each presentation. So with that being said, I'm now going to introduce Paul Brown from Kangaroo Island Wilderness Tours. How are you, Paul?
I'm good, John. How are you?
Good, mate. So for those of you that have joined previous sessions, I know we've had 2 series conducted before. We've actually changed the format up a little bit. It's going to be more of a question and answer format. So I'm going to ask Paul around 6 questions, and we'll have some images to go on the background of that. So Paul, are we ready to go?
Absolutely.
All right, question 1. If you could explain to us what you offer and what makes Kangaroo Island Wilderness Tours unique in 60 seconds or less.
So Kangaroo Island is a unique wildlife destination, and what we do is very personalised. It's highly personalised. We carry a maximum of 6 people on our luxury tour vehicles, and we use exclusively local tour drivers.
Great. And how do you access your experience and products from Adelaide?
You see the shot up on the screen of Regional Express. We use them just about exclusively. 95% of our clients choose to fly to Kangaroo Island both ways. If people want the fly and ferry experience, we encourage people to fly over and then ferry out. Of course, we do some private charter work with Chinta Tours, who you're going to hear from later.
And also, if we jump across to Seascape Lodge, maybe we can chat a bit about how to access your property there as well.
Yeah, most of our clients fly over for that, and one of the good things about Seascape Lodge is that we're close to the airport. We're only about 15 minutes from the airport. So typically people would fly over in the afternoon. We'd pick them up from the airport, and they'd be transferred and settling into Seascape by 6:30 in the evening. And then we sit down for dinner about 7:30, so that's a pretty relaxing way to start their trip. And then they'll get picked up from tour, for tour about 9 o'clock the next morning. Pretty relaxing way to start their trip to Kangaroo Island, which generally lasts a couple of days, 2 or 3 days touring on Kangaroo Island. Is perfect.
Excellent. And what's the most surprising element of your experience that clients talk about?
I think mostly it's our driver guides. You're seeing a picture of those driver guides. They are pretty unique, and I think people are surprised by the amount of knowledge they have about Kangaroo Island, not only about the plants and the birds and the animals, but their local knowledge. We've got a policy of not hiring any drivers unless they've lived on the island for at least 25 years. Most of our drivers were born on Kangaroo Island. So they have a special knowledge about Kangaroo Island, sort of information that you can't get out of a book. They've got it by actually living there, experiencing it, and a number of those people in that photo have been on Kangaroo Island for several generations. And they've got roads named after them, beaches named after them, and they're real true Kangaroo Island characters. It really does add something to the tour.
And what about the destination of Kangaroo Island itself? What are the typical things that you hear from clients on the trips?
They just love the nature, the wildlife, being out in the open, lack of crowds. I think that's we have clients from North America and Europe as well, and they just, if you come from a big city and you see something like on the screen now, where you're 2 people overlooking a beautiful beach like that and there's nobody else there, that's just phenomenal, and they love the wide open spaces and certainly they really appreciate Seascape Lodge, our accommodation property, because it overlooks a beautiful white sandy beach, and they love just relaxing, the lack of noise, lack of people. It's just fantastic.
And I'm also going to jump in here too, because I have had the fortune of staying at Seascape Lodge with Paul and his wife Mandy, and one of the most surprising things for me was the quality of food that you get, and also the amount of fun, because Seascape's a hosted experience. So maybe you could talk a bit more about Mandy's cooking.
Yeah, well, I'm going to brag about Mandy's cooking because I have to, but we are rated #1 on TripAdvisor, and we're getting great feedback about Mandy's food, and she does a wonderful job of that. And it's a different experience because it is hosted. Mandy and I join the guests for dinner every night, and that means that they've got sort of the insight to the local community as well, because I've lived on the island for over 40 years, and he's been there for over 30, and so we're able to talk about what it's like to raise their children on the island as well, and really does add something to the stay at Seascape. The fact that we're able to join the guests for dinner, it's the fun bit for us. We get to meet some really interesting people, so that's great, being able to share our home with these people, and that's exactly what it is. And just remember, though, that we are able to book all of the other accommodation houses on Kangaroo Island, but to stay at Seascape Lodge, it's available exclusively to Kangaroo Island.
Excellent. And Paul, could you let us know if there's any changes that have been implemented from an accommodation or touring point of view in the last year, since many people have probably seen you or dialed onto the webinar?
We're constantly refining what we do. We change our cars every 2 to 3 years, and that's going to happen in the next 6 months or so. We'll change the cars over. They're now 2 years old. But it's new to all of our clients, and they love it. And that's why we were rated, we're rated #1 on TripAdvisor for Seascape. We won an award of excellence on TripAdvisor based on our client feedback, and we also won the best escorted touring experience in Australia in the last 2 or 3 years. So people love what we do. It's new to them every time they get in a car. We do have some return visitors, but mostly it's a new experience for everybody, and they love it.
Great. And we may have gone past it, but have you got a favourite image or photograph that you'd like to share with the group?
I'll try to go back to the one with the car sitting in the scrub, because that's the one that really defines it for me. Because we're such a small group, we're able to get off into places that other operators aren't able to do, and this really typifies what we're able to do. Get off into the bush, find a nice setting to have lunch. Lunch is for us a food and wine experience, serving local produce like the Kangaroo Island wines, which are really good quality, sheep cheeses and yogurts, things like that, and it's just pretty relaxed. You can see the people are enjoying having a look around the bush, and Peter's looking after them. The guides do a wonderful job of looking after our clients and making them feel at home on Kangaroo Island with a local person.
Fantastic. So the final question, what way can you assist the webinar participants on today to help promote or learn about your experience?
Just the contact details are there, and the next slide is of Sue Morris, who's our reservations manager. She's wonderful in the office and does a great job. So it's really just a matter of contacting Sue. I'm involved in these webinars. I'm also involved in corroboree. I went up for the new product workshop and the nature and adventure workshop in the States last year, and I'll continue to do that sort of thing. So I'm trying to do as much as I can to make contact with the agents, and certainly just feel free to contact us anytime you want. If there's a question, really it's just easy to come to us direct. And we're happy to book through the supply chain, whatever people want to do. But if people have got questions about flights, accommodation, transfers, any of that sort of thing, really the best thing is just to get in touch with us, and so we'll look after you really well.
Thanks so much, Paul. And thanks, Matt, for putting it back to that screen with Paul's contact details. They should be on the screen now. So just while we're waiting for questions to come through, just a reminder to type into the question box or the chat box. I got a question from Andrew. Can you take guests from Seascape around to see the penguins?
Yes, we can. We do penguin tours out of seascape. They're a bit seasonal this time of the year. The birds are not there. They go out to sea this time of the year. But certainly the rest of the year we're able to organise penguin tours from Seascape Lodge.
So the penguins, is it generally January and February that they can tend to go quiet?
Yeah, the colony actually, the place where you see them shuts down in February for the whole of the month of February. And really they're a bit hard to find this time of the year. So apart from that, it's fine.
Yep.
You know, sometimes there's lots of birds there, sometimes there's chicks there, but this time of year it's very quiet.
Okay, I've also got a question about the property name. Due to our Australian accents, which may be a little bit difficult to understand, the property is called Seascape, S-E-A-S-C-A-P-E, Lodge.
Yeah.
And 3 rooms, correct, Paul?
Yeah, just 3 guest rooms, so really quite intimate, very personalised, and we have different nationalities sitting around the table, and it's a lot of fun.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Paul. What we might do, if we've got any other questions, we'll come back at the end.